is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
There's no better way to spark a child's imagination than to get lost in the adventure of a good book. I'm Jenny Benson, president of NSEA. Working together, parents and teachers can help every child succeed. You can help by reading to your child and let your child read to you. Encourage reading in your home and make it a priority. Make reading fun and a time that you and your child look forward to spending together.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association on the station.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into the Doane Athlete Project. I'm Harrison Arns running the ones and twos. We got Killian and Brandon. Is this the second time in studio for you guys?
Yeah, yep. Second time.
2 times. So you guys just came from an overtime game, so the dedication to the studio is real. We'll talk about that. You guys were playing Tabor. Came to a close one, 2-point loss, 69-71. Came down to the wire. We also had the UNL versus Doane exhibition game at the Vault at PBA. We'll talk about that one as well. And no, they did not enter Casey Tominaga. That was not part of the agenda. We're going to get that route bright and early. But again, if you guys want to join the show, 402-464-5685, Sutter Heyman text line, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo Channel 951. Guys, how's it going? And first of all, how was the game? I know we talked a little bit OT loss against Tabor, but we can kind of start there. Just about, building up to that game, coming off the exhibition, and then we'll run back and talk about the exhibition later.
Okay. We played really hard. I mean, there was a lot of times where, we made great plays on defense. Started the game off really hot, which is really good for us because last year there was a lot of games where we would just start out flat. Mm-hmm. But eventually you could tell that we were running on fumes. And that's kind of when they started pulling back because we started fouling a lot. And I think at almost half of we had like 8 or 9 fouls.
Yeah, we were in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Coop did a good job guarding their best player to start with, but again, he picked up 2 fouls early. Mm-hmm. He had to come out. Caleb came in, did a good job, but their best guy got hot a little bit, and then they started hitting some really dumb shots.
Yeah, some crazy shots.
What was the one dumb shot where you guys all there's an audible sigh within the crowd?
Their big man had like a almost travel kind of step through move on a double team, like flipped it up off the glass, banked in. We're like,
yeah, their bigs were not great, but they were athletic.
Okay.
Yeah, not really coordinated, so when it came to those types of shots, it was kind of a letdown.
One where you looked at the scouting report and you're like, that wasn't there.
Yeah.
What was their biggest strength? What was the thing that you think gave you problems? Was it just crazy hot shooting streak that on paper wasn't necessarily supposed to happen, but given,
I think definitely their height.
Yeah, a little
their
bit.
Length.
They took us out of our offense a little bit as well. They kind of ramped up the intensity and we started missing a lot of shots. Mm-hmm. Heads went down on defense. They weren't really doing anything special. They just kind of hit shots and we didn't.
We kind of started running at their pace too.
Yeah.
What is your guys' pace? You guys like up and down the team, or are they trying to slow it down?
It depends. Missed shot will go up and down, but when it comes to made shot, we'll slow it down. We'll walk the ball up, and we'll use all 30 seconds of the shot clock if we have to. So
What's the biggest key you're taking away from this one? Close loss, OT loss.
We're just right there. We are right there.
Yeah.
And there's just a couple of things that we could have done that could have brought us over that hill, but we're still a pretty young team.
30
days.
Yeah.
30 days.
I know we talked a little bit before. We have another guy that does the Doane Athlete Project here on the ticket, Guy Moran. Apparently he came off the bench and was playing pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Guy came off the bench, hit 2 threes back to back, same spot.
Place was going crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. He almost hit a third as well, but
Everybody loves Guy too, so everybody was.
I was going to ask, is there like a fan favorite? That happens with every team. There's always someone, whether it's the best player or a player that's just a role player. You think about the Lakers, it was Alex Caruso. You think about Nebraska, it's obviously Keisei Tamanaga for the play. But if you're looking at the Lakers, you're not thinking Alex Caruso is better than LeBron, but he still tends to be a fan favorite. Who's that for Doane?
Probably, a lot of people like Brady. Josiah is definitely a fan favorite. But Guy, Guy just brings the energy. He always has a lot of people there cheering for him. Like
everybody at Doane loves Guy.
Yeah,
he's just a ball of sunshine.
Yeah, Guy goes in, place goes crazy. Everyone loves it.
What's his best part about Guy's game? Is it defense, offense?
He's a shooter.
Oh, he has a crazy motor too.
Yeah, he'll go.
He could go for 20 minutes straight if he has to, and it won't look any different from the first minute he was in to the last one.
Yeah, he'll be talking the whole time as well, hitting shots.
Oh, he's a chirper.
Yeah, big energy guy. We'll talk everybody up. If you miss a shot, he's hey, head up, get back on D.
He really keeps our team together. He's like our glue guy.
Okay, yeah, everyone needs one for sure.
Yeah, we've been better at that though this year. We're definitely a way closer group.
Okay,
way closer group.
What do you think when you're looking at your roster? Who is, you said Guy's kind of that energy guy. What are you guys as leaders? Are you guys more, I'm going to let my play do the talking, or do you guys like to chirp a little bit too when you're on the court?
I'll just let my play do the talking. I don't really chirp too much.
That can get you in trouble, so it's not the wrong answer.
Yeah, we actually got in trouble for that tonight. We had a couple of guys talking at the refs. So, yeah.
Happens.
It does.
What about you, Brandon? You chirp at all during the game?
No, not at all. I don't talk.
I do wish sometimes there was a rule, even in college. I think that's probably the time to bring it in, but maybe just have like one player that gets the rights to talk to the ref.
Yeah, you could do team captains.
Yeah.
Just like the captain, like if you got a problem with the ref, because for me, the NBA, that's where it drives me nuts. Like it's like every single play. And it's like, buddy, it's the NBA. Like there's a lot of calls it's like every possession on the court. The 2 minutes of the game might take 30 minutes because there's a foul every other play.
Yeah. No, to be fair, coach does a good job of talking to referees for us. But in the past, Brady was always normally the guy that would speak to referees.
Yeah, it was usually Brady.
But yeah, we had a couple guys talking tonight. Ben was talking with the
number 0.
Number 0, yeah. Can't remember the play exactly, but Ben left him open on a 3, whatever, he missed it, and Ben said something about the scouting report.
Yeah, he was talking about, I'm going to be leaving you all open all game because that's what it says on the scouting report.
Those are always brutal.
Yeah.
When you're like, man, that probably is what it says on the scouting report.
Yeah. No, he got a warning for the ref for that. They didn't let that slide.
Yeah, Coach wasn't too happy at halftime.
No.
That all happens in the first half.
To the refs.
Yeah.
If another team was looking at the scouting report and they got Killian and they got Brandon on there, what is the one X factor that, hey, we want to either force you this way, or the one thing we can't let him do this? Killian, what's Brandon's? Because you guys are going to be too humble if you just ask your own.
Don't let Brandon come off a pick and roll. You got to guard him right. He'll go to the rim. He's got a nice little step back, pull up.
He's got that vertical too, as I've learned.
He'll go to the rim. But as well, if you have a slow closeout or you close out too far to an angle or whatever, he'll definitely rip you middle, rip you baseline. He's quick enough to get a good first step on someone. So,
yeah. Do you got pretty quick speed? Were you a track athlete growing up?
Yes, but I only did like long and triple jump.
Okay, so you wouldn't know about the 100-meter dash.
Yeah, no, just field events.
Do you think you're pretty fast? Like if you put him on a 100-meter, do you think you could have gone a track route?
I wasn't too.
I'd imagine with the verticality and the athleticism, the speed wouldn't be too far behind.
I reckon so.
I did the 200 one time in high school, and it was so random. It was my senior year, and I've only been doing practice for like a month straight of triple jump and long jump, and then next, we look at the the little piece of paper where it shows where everybody's going to be, what meets they're going to do, or what events they're going to do at the meet. And next, my name's next to the 200, and I'm like, what? I haven't done a sprinting workout in the whole time I was there, and I wasn't too good at it.
200 is a weird one too, especially if
you
don't have any practice in it.
You gotta practice them.
Mm-hmm.
That's one where it's not super complicated, but if you're just doing it right off the bat with no practice, you're probably going to burn out immediately.
Yeah.
It's a dead out sprint, but there is a little bit of art to that curve. I'm
That's exactly
kicking on that engine.
Yeah, I burnt out right after that first curve, or the curve.
Running on fumes for the last 100.
Yeah.
That's brutal. How was that triple jump though? Because if you had that verticality, I'm sure that was a fun one.
It was fun. Yeah, no, I really liked it. My first triple jump, or my first meet where I did triple jump, was actually at Doane.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, it was at the field house. It was our indoor meet, and at first I was terrible at it. I can jump, so my last phase wasn't bad, but you know how you're supposed to stay low for triple jump, Yeah, my first. I have a video of it. You can see me jumping as high as I can on that first phase, and it was rough. But I thought about coming to Doane for track, do triple jump, because senior year was the only year I actually did triple jump.
Okay.
Yeah,
and you had a lot of success with it.
A little bit. Yeah.
What about you said did you do high jump?
No, I did high jump in middle school, but I just can't bend my back over the bar.
Yeah,
I always, what they call is sitting over the bar. I always sit on the bar.
Yeah. That's a tough one. I feel like that one's almost better if you're lanky.
Yeah,
because you kind of got that arch, and then it's a more natural bend up and over. I was always in height. I didn't have the verticality, but I was tall enough to where it's okay, the waist, at least the bar's already up to my waist. If I can't get over it, I got a problem. Plus, it was C2. It wasn't still under competition. But Killian, Brandon, what about you? If Killian, the opposing team has the scouting report, what does it say about Killian?
You got to be physical with him. Otherwise, he'll bully you out of the paint. But also at the same time, if you get too close up on him, he'll beat you on a drive if he has to.
Mm-hmm.
Usually he'll catch the ball in the mid range. That's his shot. The mid range is his shot, and especially at the elbow. But yeah, you got to be physical with him. And also you have to be really smart guarding him.
Why is it the mid range with you? Why is it something? Because you're in an age group where that wasn't. Maybe it's a little different where you came from, but at least I know around here, you got high school coaches telling you that's a bad shot.
Well, for me, the offense that we ran in England, I used to get a lot of elbow shots or just 15 footers off the glass. So I don't know. And then you can't shoot threes if you can't shoot twos. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you make enough, it's a good shot.
Exactly.
That's always kind of my thing with the mid range. I feel like I think it's swinging back a little bit to being a good shot again. But for the longest time, even when I was younger, I was like, I don't think this makes you necessarily a better player by never taking these shots or practicing the minimum amount of time. Because you think of all the greatest players, they all got a killer mid-range game. Because it just feels like, for whatever reason, if you can get the mid-range game going, that just seems to be such a momentum thing. It makes the whole game feel better.
The one dribble pull-ups, even, if you catch the ball in the high post or whatever, and you're dangerous from there, guys might double you, got people open for layups. If people dig on you, you've got wide open 3-pointers. But no, I do think it's important.
It's definitely one where don't spend your entire drill on it,
No.
But
you got to have some range as well, but
it just drives me nuts because I just see it over and over and over again of these players just killing. DeMar DeRozan's probably the best example.
Oh, for sure.
How many pump fakes he's got to do just to get the N1, and because it's still a pretty close shot, easy enough, you can just go right up and over with it. And I suppose with your height, is that probably why you fell in love with that shallow? Because you can probably just shoot over a lot of people at that high post.
Better rebounding position as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as well, when I was younger, I was told to kind of stay off the 3-point line. So that was kind of just where I had to make a living. So yeah, but recent years though, I have stretched out to the 3. You have to be able to shoot threes as well. So.
And where'd the physicality come from? Is that just the way you've always played the game, or is that something that you've developed over time, maybe playing against dudes that were a little tougher?
When I first started, definitely not. But when I got to my last years of high school, essentially, I started playing with men, over 18s. If you can't push and shove them around, they're just gonna bully you. So that's kind of where that came from. Just playing against bigger guys, older guys.
Do you notice a difference in the whistles when you came over here?
Yeah. You guys call a lot more troubles. You guys found that out, and you didn't go to England, but
Mm-mm.
when the team went to England, they used a lot of the gather steps and Euro steps and stuff, and our guys are like, oh, that's 3 steps, but we play that like a lot of step throughs as well. We call it charges differently over there as well. If you, I guess we don't now with the new rule change in the NAIA, but we used to have to be set before you picked up the gather, but over here, like the last couple of years, as long as you were just set before they got to you, you were fine. I don't know. We call it hand check. We don't really call hand checks on defense back home. Like you can be physical. Like
I wish we had a
have
little
hand on-
more of that back
yeah,
here.
me too.
The hand checking here is ridiculous because I feel like it's like a really tough rule to enforce too.
And as well, like even if you get caught like this with your elbow there, like they're gonna call that. I mean, if you're not hands out, you're liable for a foul, which actually happened a couple times tonight for some of our guys. So
what was the hardest thing for you personally to adapt to? Because you guys, when you were playing, did you play it off the rim too as soon as it hits the rim?
Yeah. So that was kind of weird. As soon as the ball bounced on the rim or touched it, you could go up and swipe it away or tip dunk it or whatever. But I mean, that wasn't really too big of a difference to get used to. But the college 3-point line was a little bit further out when I got here. Like we played the high school line,
right?
And then obviously coming here, I was like, I saw 3 lines. I was like, what?
Yeah, they just moved it back too.
Yeah. Literally, the year I got there, they literally just moved it back. So
those always throw me off when I'm on a court and it's got the multiple lines.
Yeah.
Even though it's the same distance, for some reason, like I don't know why, but my brain, like I always got to calibrate.
Yeah, it was kind of nice though that it was the first year that they moved it back, so I got to adjust with everyone else. But yeah, still quite deep though, to be fair.
So do you got the green light on threes over here? Within the offense, obviously you're not like a Jokic step back 3 over the head. You're probably not pulling that.
I mean, last 5 seconds maybe, but no. But no, yeah, pick and pops. I'll shoot those. Even breakdown in the offense, I'll shoot a catch and shoot threes. Yeah.
I'm always curious about the foreign ball because I just feel like there's a beautiful basketball product out there and it's accumulation of that foreign ball and the U.S. ball because the U.S. has gotten a little too ticky tacky, and in Europe, I don't know if I'd like seeing like all the Euro steps like the extended. I'd be a little like it'd be hard for me to tell what's traveling anymore.
Yeah.
I think there's a culmination of both. That's the best basketball product. Because right now, like again, the refs, I can get on that about forever. That's an absolute tangent. But before we go to our next break here, I do want to talk about the exhibition game. You guys got to play at the Vault at PBA against Nebraska. You guys would fall to that one 89-54, but nonetheless, pretty close first half. And it was one of the stories where the athleticism, just kind of the size and length, started to play a role, especially in that second half. But what were some of the things you guys just going into the game, the excitement?
We definitely had a chip on our shoulder into that one. And the coaches even talked to us like, this is just like block out all the lights, the crowd. This is just another team. And, we obviously had nothing to lose because they're D1, we're NAIA. And I think that really helped us because we started off pretty hot. We ended up starting the game off leading them by like a couple points for a little bit. And then, eventually it's going back and forth. And once the end of half comes around, we're down 8. They hit some crazy bank shot 3 and we're down 11 at the buzzer. And
a little bit of that taper action that you guys had today.
But it was good. It was good to see us compete with such a high level team.
What was in that first half that you guys were, keeping it close? You guys were battling back and forth there a little bit. What do you think was the key to success there in that first half?
First half, I don't think we let that pressure get to us as much as we did in the second half. We took our time more, found the shots that we wanted more than like forcing shots or turning the ball over. And again, we didn't have many turnovers in the first half either, so held onto the ball quite well. We rebounded really good in that first half as well. Every time a shot went up, forearms, boxing out, guys flying for rebounds. So
it seems like you guys take a lot of pride in that this year.
Some good takeaways from that game. Some things we need to work on as well. But again, just their length, athleticism.
It wears on you.
Yeah,
at the end of the game. Brandon, what about you? What do you think about that first half? Some things that you're like, you know what, that was an opponent that on paper we had no business being that close with,
Mhm.
but there we were in the first half, only down 11 off a crazy 3-point shot.
Yeah.
Our defense that really impressed me. And I think that goes back to us like beating each other up in practice because we've been we've been doing so good like offensively that like our defensive coach, our assistant coach, like he goes absolutely nuts when we have like our defensive segment because like we'll just hit some crazy shots.
Yeah.
Like
when we play
and
scout or just like 5-out motion,
Mhm.
sometimes we
he loses his mind. But no, our defense was great that game, especially in the first half. Like Killian said, rebounds. We like obviously they were bigger than us, but we grabbed our all the rebounds that we needed to. And I feel like we also got a good amount of the 50-50 balls too.
yeah.
Which
Yeah.
was-
And that's huge. You're playing an opponent like that.
Mhm.
That's what's going to put your shoe over the top.
Yeah, they missed a couple bunnies too, you know. I think that goes back to our defense. We were contesting everything.
Mhm.
We didn't really foul too much either
Mm-mm.
that first half.
Not at
we
all.
stayed out of foul trouble, so that was great to see.
You guys said you had a pretty solid defense. You guys like typically man up, or you'll drop into his zone from time to time, or what do you typically
man.
do?
Man,
We're
yeah.
playing man. Yeah.
You guys ever drop into his zone? Unless man, it would have to be like a
I don't
special
think
type
we've-
of team.
Maybe that would be a special call, but no, not normally. We're not a denial team, but we'll get up and press you on the ball. Go under. We're trying to go under more ball screens. We've got this peel switch action going on,
Mhm.
which is working quite good for us. We're quite good for us again in the UNL game.
Is appeal is that the same thing as like freezing? Switch?
No. So pretty much, if the guard gets hit, he'll go over the top. The
Yep.
big will just slide out. take the
Okay,
ball,
okay, that makes
just
sense.
peel over, and then on a pass away, we'll just switch back.
Mm-hmm.
I will say we were a little like in the gaps, we were a little overextended. But you know, it's a big game. There's pressure. That's gonna happen. Everybody's gonna be excited. Adrenaline running.
I definitely think we held our own the first half, though.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then real quick, second half, where do you think you guys maybe started to lose your composure a little bit? And given I shouldn't, that might even be too harsh because we're talking about D1 Nebraska basketball.
Again, just the way they play, their intensity, their athleticism. We took a lot more bad shots. They just started hitting more.
Just felt like maybe rushing it a little bit in that second half, which can be the case because, if you're that underdog team, it almost feels like that's what you need to do to kind of take over. And I think it's like a natural emotion to like kind of pick up the pace when you don't necessarily need to.
It never felt like we were getting blown out of the game. It always felt like we were there. Obviously, scoreline tells different. But
Yeah, right.
It never felt like looking at it like, oh, we're getting whooped. But, yeah.
I feel like we messed up our sets a little bit more in the second half. I mean, we messed up the first set out of halftime, but
we did,
we still got an and one. We got the crazy 3-pointer they got back. He hit the free throw and brought it back down to 8. But they started pressuring more. I think that's what we really get to us because turnovers started becoming a big factor. I mean, we threw a decent amount of turnovers in the first half too, but I think we were still fresh, so our defense could make up for it. Our transition defense made up for it, but eventually you could just tell there's a level difference in athleticism between us, and that I think that's really what was the difference between the first and second half.
Yeah, definitely the difference maker there.
What do you think you guys could do turnover wise better? What do you think was the main factors of that? Just second guessing your passes because of the first few turnovers, or was it just getting sloppy towards the end there, with tired legs, or
getting a little bit sloppy? But again, just second guessing, letting the ball pressure get to us a little bit, just rushing decisions maybe.
They bring that out in the second half more, that ball pressure, or were they a little more laid back in the first?
I don't know. I'd say more in the second half.
Okay.
But
yeah, it's curious game too, because they're good litmus tests though, right? It's for you guys to be like, okay, that first half, there's a lot of good things to take away. That second half might not be as fun, but there's still a lot of good things to take away from it. Things that, okay, this didn't work. We got to polish up that. But before we go to break here, what was your favorite part of that day as a whole? Because it is cool. You got 2 Nebraska schools in there, 2 basketball programs. And, I'm sure there's more Husker fans, but if Doane starts balling out, I'm sure we're all loving it too. So what was kind of the fun atmosphere of being able to play in PBA in an all Nebraska crowd for the most part?
I think just being able to experience the D1 facility. I mean, going through warm-ups and then seeing their hype video and like the whole stadium just turns red and they have like the little the Husker lights.
On the court.
Yeah, on the court. It was so cool. It was like, and it's loud in there. People are getting hyped, and you know, even in just warm-ups, like warming up and looking across and just seeing those great athletes, and how much more they're doing than us. They had like agility ladders. They had
They had
the
some
little
crazy
water.
warm-ups.
They had the little water weight thing. But yeah, it's like it was just so cool to experience something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, go ahead. I cut you off there.
It's just like something you don't get to experience every day. Not
Yeah.
many people get to experience it either.
Even the night before, we went up and practiced for an hour, just getting to see their facility empty, like their court, their whole setup was just awesome.
It is a beautiful arena. Like
Yeah.
it is to me. You can argue obviously Indiana just because it's a historic building, and then obviously rest in peace to Bob Knight. He did pass away today, but nonetheless, like if you're talking about like quality, the vault has got to be number one. It's the newest. It looks sleek. The design is awesome. But if you're going for like more of the culture, that Indiana arena is just, it's got so much history and it's cool from the outside. It's got that almost industrial look, I want to say, but definitely the vault, awesome place to play. And it's cool for you guys to experience that. We got to go ahead and throw it to our first break here. This is the Doane Athlete Project. I'm Harrison here with Killian and Brandon representing Doane basketball today. We'll talk to you guys on the other side.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza, the big one, all the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Coach Osborne's here. Do you think the option can work in this era of football right here?
If you can do something and do it well that other people don't see all the time, it's an advantage. So that's why I think particularly today, I would think being a good option team would give you an edge. And then if you could run a few passes, come off of that. And that's what happened last week with Malachi Coleman. They'd run a few options and pretty soon their safeties were committing. And then all of a sudden Malachi's got a lot of room to run back.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de The Alzheimer's Association y The Ad Council.
Hey Santa, we're getting a lot of requests for Nebraska Lottery Holiday Classic scratch tickets this year.
Makes sense. Until January 3rd, 2024, players can enter non-winning tickets online for a chance to win 1, 5, 10, or 20,000 bucks.
Yeah, but I built like 1 million wooden trains.
Why do you keep making those?
They're a classic holiday gift.
Oh, trust me, Jingles, there's nothing more classic than cash.
Top prize odds vary by game. Did you know that when you play games from the Nebraska Lottery, you're also supporting and even... That's right. Since 1993, the Nebraska Lottery has raised more than $900 million for Nebraska's environment, educational opportunities, and state fair. So to everyone who plays, we say, the Nebraska Lottery, 30 years of building a better Nebraska.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
In my opinion, Nebraska is still in the driver's seat. Wow. To win this thing. They're in the driver's seat.
That would be incredible.
If Wisconsin hadn't lost it's Braylon in a high ankle sprain, you don't play again that year. I mean, losing him is monumental.
It'll be interesting to see a team that's missed so many bowl games in a row, to how they could handle potentially having the mentality of being in the driver's seat.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, guys.
They're long silence. I made these guys bring us in for this segment. You guys two times in now. You guys are basically pros.
I wouldn't say that quite yet, but
I do want to keep talking Doane basketball a little bit here, and then we'll go ahead and switch it over to the NBA talk because we got a Mavericks fan in here. 4-0, beat my Chicago Bulls today. Wasn't much of a question on there. If you bet on the Bulls, that's ill-advised at this point already. Even though we're early in the season, it's just not going great for them. But Doane basketball, what do you guys have coming ahead here? Do you guys know what your next game is on the schedule?
Yeah, yes. We've got York on Saturday.
York, okay. How's York looking this year? I know it's still super early. I don't know what the scouting.
I heard that they've brought back almost everybody.
Okay.
From last year. Last year it was an insane game. Offensively for both sides. I think the final score was like in the high 80s, maybe low 90s.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
Yeah, we lost on a buzzer beater that one though, and one of their guys dropped like 30, and he never played. He didn't play nowhere near as many minutes as he did that game.
Just had a hot hand.
Just had a hot hand.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are feeling a little bit of revenge tour for this game?
Yes.
Especially so because you said they're a veteran group, so you're gonna be looking at a lot of the same guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Would you rather play a team that you face over and over again, or a brand new team that this first time seeing them?
Depend. Well, I mean, if you can get scouting guys pretty easy nowadays, but I don't know if you have same kind of old team, you kind of just know how they play, what their system's like, what guys are going to do what, like how they play together, how to guard, you know, not like that. But then if you have new guys that don't really know how to play with each other and you can get a good scout on them and discard them individually, then that works as well. But I prefer like old team, just see them over and over again because you just get used to them.
Yeah, I kind of like that too because to me it's always like even new team if they're better on paper they're probably going to have the edge. Teams that you play over and over again, even if on paper they're better, like you said, you kind of get a feel from it. It's like, okay, technically you guys are better, but I know what you like to do. If I can eliminate that, at least make that first part confusing for you. And, if we're not better on paper, we can make up ground there. And then later in the second half, if you do, start to figure out a way around what we're doing, it's still going to be a close game towards the end.
That was just with Jamestown last year. They brought back a lot of guys, and we just knew how to guard them. We just had a good system for that game, and they had one guy that we just figured out. And
Brandon, what about you? You're just play a new team or a rival you see over and over again?
Probably rival.
Rival.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
feel like there's a little more in the game too when it's a rival.
Different type of energy too.
I've never had to like face a new team because like at least in high school, it was very rare whenever we played a new team because my team, I went to Elkhorn North, which opened up my junior year.
Okay.
So we were the new team. So obviously I saw all these teams back when I was at Elkhorn High before, and not much changed from my sophomore year to my junior year. And then my junior year to my senior year, nothing changed really much either. So definitely old team.
Yeah. Was it you, Brandon? Because I know Killian, obviously you wouldn't know. Were we talking about the Bago boys on your first show in here, Winnebago?
I don't think so.
Do you remember their story with David Wingett?
Wingets, right?
Yeah, it was I think Wingett.
Wingett.
Yeah, how you
is it
say
Wingett?
it? 6'7". Just that was a new team that we got to play in the tournament. Yeah, that wasn't a fun new team to play.
Then they call their style of play, wasn't it called like reservation ball?
I mean that's you got to be careful with that one. I don't know how many people take that to offense. It's kind of it's. I know what you mean though. You hear it all the time. Called the res ball.
I watched like a little YouTube documentary. That's what they called it. So that's where
You're okay though, because the funniest part, if you watch the documentary, the players are all like, "Yeah, it's res ball," and the coach would be like, "Yeah, we try not to play that."
Gotcha.
The coach actually was like wanted a more seemed like he wanted a more structural, but the team just kind of took its own, and they were dominating. It was one of those things where the coach is like,
"Cool,
all right, their brand of ball is winning a lot of games."
Yeah,
but it wasn't interesting. So like, yeah, I know that just kind of ebbs and flows with certain teams because I know some coaches hate that idea of the res ball because that's not what they want to do. But if you look at the Bago boys, they themselves were calling it, and it was insane. It was just like they were almost an NBA team.
Yeah, they were run and gun. They
would take a shot like 5 seconds into the shot clock.
They would shoot lights out too. Is what I heard. I never got to watch them, but
because I just remember pulling up to the game, and this would have been, I think it was in Wayne. And we pulled up, and if it was the coolest game, kind of how you guys got to go to the vault, see that fan experience. Me, playing C2 basketball, we had like decent fans, all friends, family showing up for games. Showing up to Wayne and having lines like all the way outside the door, people showing up 2 hours to watch this reservation basketball team. Like and it's a fun documentary hole. If you ever want to go down, it's really cool to see.
I'll go look it up
because they were practically nothing forever, and then here comes these Wingett brothers, and they're incredible. To get all they do is play basketball, just like playground ball, like street ball, basically. And that's kind of how they became res ball, by just constantly playing this like backyard type basketball. It's incredibly fun to watch. I got off on a tangent there because talking about the Winnebago boys, this is always a fun memory for me. But let's go ahead and switch it up to NBA here. I know the Mavericks 4-0 beat my Chicago Bulls tonight.
Yep.
I was wrong about. Well, I'm not gonna say I was wrong about Kyrie Irving yet. There's a lot of season on the line yet, and there's still plenty of room for him to get upset.
Yeah, for sure.
Decide to go elsewhere. How are you feeling about them right now, though? Early on, undefeated.
Oh, I watched the first 2 games. It looks great. I feel like we really found our center, the center that we've been needing in Derek Lively, because Luka just knows how to play with him on the pick and roll. And not only that, but Jason Kidd has also been doing a fantastic job of rotating players. Because like the first 2 games, Jaden Hardy, who's one of our younger guys, didn't play, and he's like a really promising young talent. But he said that it's like a situational thing, and he's played more in the last couple of games. And he's been provided, like it's like a situational thing. Like he'll play him if he feels like that's what they need, and that's what happened with Derek Lively too. Because I think I don't remember who. I think it was against either Memphis or Brooklyn, Derek Lively didn't really get in, but we had Dwight Powell, and Dwight Powell actually showed up for once, thankfully.
He's an anomaly for me. He's a guy that I constantly projected to do, like, every season starts. I'm like, oh yeah, this will be, he'll keep building up. He's kind of a lot like DeAndre Ayton for me.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, where when DeAndre Ayton got Chris Paul, you saw his game elevate. But before then, it was just like, come on, man. You have all the athleticism, you have the height, you have all the tools you need, but just like he plateaued.
Yeah.
Powell kind of gave me those same vibes.
Yeah. And it's hard. He's a 6'7" center. That's not ideal in the NBA, but with the situational things that Jason Kidd's been doing, I think if we keep going like this, I think we could be pretty high seated in the West.
Yeah, I mean, guys are right now. If it keeps up, like you said, definitely be up there. And I've always liked Jason Kidd as coach. He's always one that I felt like I always kind of got it. I don't want to say unfair shot, because you'd have to include all coaches in that, because it's such a short window. But I am glad to see it kind of work for the Mavericks, because I do like him as a coach, and I think if he can find a way to get Kyrie Irving and Luka clicking, he's going to have his imprint on that head coach chair for a while. Killen, do you got an NBA team? I forgot. Do you have one?
Yeah, the Bulls.
Oh, that's right. You're a Bulls fan.
Yeah,
oh man.
so-
I'll ask you the sad question. What does the future look like for the Bulls? Is this salvageable? Is really the main headline.
I don't know. Depends on what Zach LaVine does, and if Lonzo comes back healthy, maybe. But right now, it's not looking good.
Are you optimistic about Lonzo? Because I try to be. I really do.
Yeah, I'd like to see him back,
Mm-hmm.
but you never know what happens.
What was his injury again? I know he had like multiple surgeries on his knee, clearing out debris. They said that was the problem in his joints, causing him a lot of pain. And then he went under the microscope again. He's just got it's just the knees, man.
Yeah, something about them. I don't know.
Apparently, one of a bunch of doctors at some point, they just had no idea what was going on with his knee, because he couldn't run, he couldn't do a hard pivot, and apparently doctors just had no idea what was going on. So it makes you question maybe one of his surgeries were botched.
Yeah, which you would hope
Maybe.
not, because you're paying all that. He's getting top of the line
Has to be.
surgery. But to me, it was always kind of like a game of, we're going to do the surgery. We think it will help. It just felt like I should say a lot of these surgeries tended to be focusing on just like clearing around the debris. Because that's always been the problem. Like you said, like he can walk around, but when he does those like hard cuts, starts jogging, sprinting, like then it gets really painful. That's why you see him go down all the time.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any nagging injuries that really bother you as a basketball player? I feel like knees always drive people nuts. Because I remember I was a young kid and I was putting like icy hot on my kneecaps. My knees are so bad.
Yeah, my knees a little bit. They haven't been too bad this year. As long as I warm them up properly and get ice after, I'm fine. But had problems with my ankles, but haven't had any ankle injuries recently. So knock on wood.
Yeah, I was gonna say cross your finger there. Brandon, what about you? Pretty healthy, luckily, or no? You've had some nagging injuries to work through.
My ankles. I think
Really?
I rolled my ankles 8 times on each ankle. So yeah, no, that started in high school and doesn't go away.
Damn, I hope you triple tape those before the game.
I don't. I hate tape because I kind of have a flat foot, and the way that the tape kind of because people tape your ankles pretty tight. Since I don't have an arch, it pushes up on where my arch is supposed to be, and it over time it really hurts my feet. So I don't tape. I used to wear ankle braces. I decided to stop so my ankles didn't become so reliant on them. My mom's not too big of a fan of that, but I do it anyways.
That's interesting. What's the counter argument to the ankle braces? I'm not saying your mom's wrong.
She just does not want me to keep injuring them.
So do you think the ankle braces, it'll help you, but it's not the strength wise, it's going to prevent your muscles from actually getting that strength back?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And as well, if you're going to roll your ankle, a brace is not really going to help too much. I mean, slight tweaks and stuff, but you can do your own strengthening exercises for that. But if you're going to roll an ankle, a little brace is not, or tape is not really going to do too much to stop that. So
I just don't like how restrictive.
Shit told my head coach that. We had a similar kind of situation before. I don't know, it would have been junior, senior of high school. We had a lot of players going down before the season started with ankle injuries. Head coach comes in, probably a week before the season actually starts, just full of ankle braces. Practice every single day. We had to have them on, otherwise we were running. Wow. It was bad though. I will say, if I was the coach, I would have done something too, because we literally had, I think, 3 of our starters go out
Oh, wow.
just rolling
Yeah, no,
ankles.
can't do that.
And it was just kind of a crazy thing. And then eventually, towards the end of the season, we didn't have to wear them anymore. But they are pretty uncomfortable because I'm flat footed
are.
too.
Mhm.
That's different. They're not taping it, but still, just that having that bulk
Mhm.
in there. And if you got like shoes that come up, which I played center, I didn't typically have the Kobe low cuts. Mine came up a little bit.
Yeah.
Jamming those things in there, it definitely was not comfortable. Like
Mhm.
it almost felt like it was affecting my performance at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's your groin been getting on as well? You kind of tweaked that before.
Oh
season.
yeah. So I first injured my groin my senior year of high school, and I had at first it was fine,
Mhm.
and then eventually it started getting really bad to the point where I couldn't lift my leg up.
Just
I don't-
like shoot pain when
Yeah.
you did.
I don't know if it's exactly my groin. I also heard it could be my adductor, but
It's not if you like when you're raising your leg in front of you.
yeah, or like just up overall. Like I walking upstairs and downstairs was kind of rough. I like just recently retweaked it a little bit.
Mhm.
Thankfully it was nowhere near as bad as the last time, but it's still a really annoying injury. I had to sit out of practice for a week.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, was not fun. But
Yeah, the groins are brutal because those will like just my experience with that injury. I only did it once, but like still, it was on my right groin. I can tell. Like
Mhm.
it doesn't matter how long it's been. I mean, it's had been like 6 years ago.
Mhm.
If I stretch it a certain way, it always feels way more tight, always
Yeah.
way more comfortable, and it never used to be that way.
Mhm.
Do you kind of get worried with your ankles then, knowing that you rolled them so many times? Like, does it feel like you're on at times you're on an unstable
I try
platform?
not to think about it. There's definitely a couple times where I just like catch myself walking on a sidewalk, and next thing you know, my ankle just rolls. Like maybe nothing like too serious, but I'm like, wow, that's not good.
Is there anything you can do to like kind of strengthen that back up, like exercises?
Just a bunch
or-
of ankle mobility. I mean,
Really?
yeah, probably with a band or body weight stuff. We do some stuff in the weight room a little bit with what are they called?
Tib raises.
Tib raises. Yeah,
Okay,
tib
yeah.
raises help a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter how much you do it. It's always going to be there. It's going to linger around. Like
Yeah.
my ankles.
You got a
are-
couple tough ones. The groin and the ankles are
Yeah,
to have like they're not gonna completely break you, but
they'll be there.
they can rear their head, and they're more and more common to rear their head the
Yeah.
more often they happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe I guess no ankle braces because your mom doesn't want the ankle braces, but that's crazy. Hopefully you got a healthy season. We'll knock on wood for that one for both you guys. But we got to go ahead and throw its break. Our last break on the Doane Athlete Project. We got Killian and Brandon representing Doane basketball. We'll talk to you guys on the other side.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
Their age?
the way they speak.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Bank Strong, and the Ad Council.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de The Alzheimer's Association y The Ad Council.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Coach Osborne's here. Do you think the option can work in this era of football right here?
If you can do something and do it well that other people don't see all the time, it's an advantage. So that's why I think particularly today, I would think being a good option team would give you an edge. And then if we could run a few passes come off of that. And that's what happened last week with Malachi Coleman. You know, they'd run a few options and pretty soon their safeties were committing. And then all of a sudden Malachi's had a lot of room to run back.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back. Last segment of the Doane Athlete Project. I'm Harrison running the ones and twos. We got Killian and Brandon representing Doane basketball. Had a little bit of NBA talk on the last segment. And since this one's going to be nice and short, we'll kind of wrap up with that as well. We talked about it over the break. Zion Williamson on the Pelicans does have his max contract, 5-year deal. He's been playing pretty good this season. What are you guys' expectations for the Pelicans? Brandon Ingram, another guy, feels like untapped potential. Zion Williamson, untapped potential. CJ McCollum, you know what you got. What's the ceiling for them? Can they actually make a serious push in what is a incredibly loaded Western Conference?
It's tough. I mean, like you just said, the Western Conference is pretty loaded. I feel like they could, if they were in the Eastern Conference, they could be a solid playoff team. But the Western Conference has always been the stacked conference.
Especially now when you have a team like the Kings last year being the number one offense in the NBA out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's a team that no one even thinks about as a serious playoff contender, and they have the number one offense.
Tell me that a couple years ago, I would not believe you.
Oh, you're telling me. It is cool to see, though, because I've always kind of liked De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
It is cool to see him finally have those seasons where it's like, okay, I don't know what he is yet, but he's a guy. I look at him the same way I look at Anthony Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't. What's the ceiling on Anthony Edwards? I have a hard time putting my finger on that because he just goes off some nights.
Yeah.
And other nights he looks not pedestrian, but just like a freaky athletic role player.
Yeah.
Just inconsistent. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, he's got room and time to develop. The Timberwolves aren't going to be going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think.
Well, don't say that. I think they'll be out of the Target Center here pretty soon. I think that franchise gets sold.
You think so?
I think so. I'd be surprised if they stay because I think it's still Target Center where they play, but it doesn't. I know it's kind of feels like it's been pushing that way for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I would be surprised in the next 5-10 years they're no longer, which would suck because that's the closest. Yeah, trying to think that'd probably be closest team that I could drive to from Lincoln. Might be missing a few there.
There might be Chicago.
Chicago, a little bit of a closer drive.
Denver's not bad. I mean, Chicago and Denver.
Denver and Minneapolis are about the same.
Yeah.
Chicago, I don't know if it's all pretty much about the same route.
Yeah.
And OKC probably on the same route. We're in a weird spot where it's you can go watch an NBA team, but you gotta go 9 hours, pick a team.
Right in the middle.
Keep going.
You're right in the middle, pretty much.
Yeah.
You think more people in Nebraska would be an OKC fan or a Bulls fan or a
It's all
Denver
over.
fan. I see too many Boston Celtic fans. Way too many.
That's pretty gross. I see a lot of Lakers fans, but they're everywhere. They're just a nuisance on humanity. I shouldn't say it, but the Lakers fans, that's just like anytime you get a massive fan base like the Cowboys, like the Lakers, like the Dodgers, you're just not, no one's going to like you because you have the majority voice all the time.
Yeah.
It's like anytime the Lakers say Kyrie Irving's on the block, Lakers got him. That's all you hear from a Lakers fan base. What do you guys is the most infuriating fan base in all sports? Or most delusional is a better way to put it.
Could talk about the Knicks with that one.
Knicks are a good one because that one's hilarious. Every free agency, they're never able to get a single guy. Yeah. They talk about getting KD, even Kawhi Leonard. I remember when he was in the sweepstakes. They're not going.
Weren't they bashing on Kristaps Porzingis when they first drafted him?
Yeah,
booing him.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough.
Personally, me, probably speaking from my biased Mavs fan opinion, but the Phoenix Suns, absolutely hate Phoenix Suns fans.
It did. I love watching Chris Paul, but it did really hurt for me to watch. I think it was Game 7 where they got absolutely decimated. I think it was like a 40-30 point game at halftime.
Yep. Love that
of course
game.
You remember.
I love that game.
Luka, like the entire second half, Luka was just smiling. Just like, I can't believe how easy this one was, guys.
Yeah.
It was on the road too, wasn't it, in Phoenix?
It was in Phoenix, yeah. They had everything going for them, but Luka's just gonna Luka.
Luka's gonna Luka. Is Luka gonna win the MVP this year?
I hope so.
Hope so too.
Just a couple hope so's. You're a Bulls fan. Oh, that's right. You like
I
Luka.
like Luka though.
Jokic or Luka?
Jokic.
Okay,
Yeah.
So that's a good answer. We can wrap up on that. This has been the Doane Athlete Project. We got Killian and Brandon representing Doane basketball today. I'm Harrison running the 1s and 2s. We will talk to you guys next week.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
In my opinion, Nebraska is still in the driver's seat.
Wow.
To win this thing. They're in the driver's seat.
That would be incredible.
If Wisconsin hadn't lost it's Braylon and a high ankle sprain, you don't play again that year. I mean, losing him is monumental.
It'll be interesting to see a team that's missed so many bowl games in a row to how they could handle potentially having the mentality of being in the driver's seat.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. Early break with Sip and Jake.
In my opinion, Nebraska is still in the driver's seat.
Wow.
To win this thing. They're in the driver's seat.
That would be incredible.
If Wisconsin hadn't lost it's Braylon and a high ankle sprain, you don't play again that year. I mean, losing him is monumental.
It'll be interesting to see a team that's missed so many bowl games in a row to how they could handle potentially having the mentality of being in the driver's seat.
Early break with Sip and